I look forward to him taking up my other suggestion of looking at what we can do on welfare. He will know that we had a fully funded plan and we urge him to take it up. Having said that,
today, Keir Starmer made an announcement with regard to our defence budget. Whilst most points were agreed upon between Labour and the Tories, it didn't stop Labour MPs going berserk when the leader of the opposition made a point and asked questions on how it was going to be funded and taking up on a plan. In today's video, we will watch and react to this footage. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Just a quick one to say we have new Labour t-shirts available on our website. You can check the link in the description or go to britishstand.com. So have a watch of this.
On repurposing money from the overseas development budget. That is absolutely right. And I look forward to him taking up my other suggestion of looking at what we can do on welfare. He will know that we had a fully funded plan and we urge him to take it up. Having said that, can the Prime Minister say in confidence that 2.7%, the 2.5%, can the Prime Minister say in confidence that 2.7%, the 2.5% by 2027 is sufficient? Because we need to look at exactly how we fund this. He must not raise taxes further, as it will destroy our economy. We need a strong economy to pay for strong defence. He cannot borrow more. We are already spending more on debt interest than defence. We all know that he must make difficult decisions on spending. He has our support to do that. In his statement, the Prime Minister also told us about his new value for money defence reform and efficiency plan. Does he agree that the first thing that must be looked at is spending billions of taxpayer money leasing back a defence base on Diego Garcia that we currently own? Why is the Prime Minister still pursuing this deal? Earlier today, I made a speech about the realism that should drive our foreign policy. As part of this, the Prime Minister must scrap his disastrous plan to surrender the Chagos Islands and have British taxpayers pay for the privilege. The key difference between those of us on this side of the House and the Labour Party is that we know we need a strong economy for defence. We need a serious plan to get the British economy growing again. We do not have that with the latest budget from the Chancellor. So can the Prime Minister tell us if there is going to be a fiscal event this spring, even though his government is committed to only one fiscal event a year? In summary, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister made 4 points. I agree with him that NATO is a bedrock of our security, as I said this morning, and I agree that the US is our most important bilateral relationship, but friends tell each other when they disagree. We agree on this issue. We know that Ukraine must be supported, and I shared the concerns the Prime Minister had about statements that had been made about President Zelensky. I agree with the Prime Minister on protecting security in Europe. I welcome his continuing to strengthen alliances. But we must do that through NATO, building on the Joint Expeditionary Force approach. And we, of course, agree that we need peace with Ukraine, agreed. I don't necessarily agree with his change in the national security posture because we have different views on this. I am a conservative realist, not a progressive internationalist. But I want him to know that when he does the right thing, we will work with him in the national interest.
Prime Minister.
Can I first thank her for her support in relation to today's announcement and her support on Ukraine. That is important to the government, it's important to the House, but mostly it's important to the Ukrainians and to President Zelensky because they want to see unity in our House. They value unity in our House as they enter, after 3 years of a conflict, a very difficult stage of the war with Russia and the Russian aggression. And I hope and I believe we can maintain that unity in relation to Ukraine. We have for 3 years, and I'm very proud that this House has done that, notwithstanding a change of government for 3 long years. We will continue to do so. She asked about the money on defence and security and intelligence. There was new money at the budget in relation to that, but what I'm doing here is, in addition to the 2.5%, which is the increase in defence spend as it's always been understood, is to recognise that the nature of the threats to our country are different now, and that the security and intelligence services play a key part for us and for our allies in our defence, and that takes the total to 2.6. She asked me if we're going to tax to pay for the 2.5% or to borrow to pay for the 2.5%. The answer to that is no, which is why I've set out precisely pound for pound how we will pay for it today. That has meant a very difficult decision on overseas development, a very difficult decision, and not a decision that I wanted to take or that I'm happy to take. But it is important that we explain where the money will come from in terms and explain where it's coming from today. And I was only ever going to come to the House with a plan, with a timeline in it, a percentage in it, and an answer to the question, how are you going to pay for it? I would not have come to the House with a fanciful plan. And she says they had a plan. She says, of course we did. I've views on it, but the Institute of Government said of their pledge for 2.5% by 2030, Institute for Government, it does not add up, it's not a serious plan. The Institute for Fiscal Studies called it misleading and opaque. I'm not giving my view, I'm giving the view of other bodies having looked at the plan that they put forward. They said they would fund it by cutting the civil service, and then they increased the civil service by 13,000. I'm not prepared to operate in that way, which is why we've taken the difficult decision on overseas development today to be absolutely clear where the money is coming from. In relation to the final point about the approach that we take here and whether there's a difference between us, I hope not. Because what I set out was NATO first as the bedrock of our security. I hope that that is common ground, whatever we may call our respective positions. I also set out that we must not choose between the US and our European allies. That is what I fundamentally believe, and I will resist that choice. I hope that that is common ground between us, notwithstanding the language that she uses, because that is important, not for the exchanges over this dispatch box, but the future defence and security of our country and of Europe. Thank you.
What are your thoughts about that? Let me know down in the comments. In some other news, a teenager who brutally murdered his mother and two siblings was so disturbed that he had been banned from a gore website where users share videos of violent deaths due to his extreme views on child abuse. Nicholas Prosper, 19, confessed to killing 48-year-old Juliana Falcon and his siblings Kyle, 16, and Giselle, 13, in their Luton flat on September the 13th of the previous year. He was arrested shortly after, carrying a shotgun near St. Joseph's Catholic Primary School. Just hours before the murders, Prosper filmed a chilling 70-second video in which he threatened his sister over a video game. Wearing a yellow bucket hat and black t-shirt, he calmly stated he would take violent revenge on Giselle for making incorrect choices in the Walking Dead game. He ominously declared that her face will be mutilated further than necessary, claiming that he had been chosen to protect the game's fictional character, Clementine. At 5:30 a.m. on September 13th, police were called after a neighbor reported hearing screams from the flat. Officers discovered the victims' bodies, each shot in the head during the night. Prosper had fled the scene but was quickly apprehended nearby, where police found a loaded shotgun hidden in the bushes, along with over 30 cartridges and a kitchen knife. Further investigation uncovered disturbing evidence that Prosper had been planning a mass shooting at St. Joseph's, the school he and his siblings had attended. His online behavior revealed an unhealthy obsession with extreme violence and child abuse. He had been banned from a gore website after repeatedly sexualizing minors, with one moderator telling the Daily Mail that his comments supported child-adult sexual interactions. In another video, Prosper sarcastically claimed that child abuse was responsible for virtually every mental disorder. Neighbors described Prosper as reclusive, spending so much time in his bedroom that they barely knew he existed, despite his seemingly friendly relationships with his mother and siblings. Police found that he had spent months fixating on violence and school shootings, including the Sandy Hook massacre. Detective Chief Inspector Sam Canna called the case truly tragic and shocking, as 3 innocent family members were killed by their own son and brother. Assistant Chief Constable John Murphy praised the police for preventing Prosper from carrying out his plans to target a school. The head teacher of St. Joseph's, Maureen Murphy, expressed devastation at the loss of former students, Kyle and Giselle, as well as their mother, Juliana. She assured the community there was no threat to the school, despite the discovery of Prosper's planned attack. Speaking on LBC, Home Secretary Yvette Cooper described the crime as the most devastating, noting it raised concerns about young people becoming obsessed with violence and the issue of school massacres. Cooper revealed that following the Southport attack, the government had started reviewing reforms related to the PREVENT program, focusing on violent fixated teenagers and the impact of online content. Luton Council leader Hazel Simmons expressed her shock and distress over the revelation of the planned school violence and acknowledged its emotional toll on children, staff, parents and carers in the school community. The council plans to review security measures in schools after the court revelations. Prosper, who is in custody awaiting sentencing, showed no emotion during his 6-minute court hearing, where he pleaded guilty to 3 counts of murder and firearms offences. In a previous hearing, his estranged father, Ray Prosper, had tearfully said, "I still love you, son. It's not your fault, okay?" And lastly, new reports suggest that Meghan Markle's Hollywood talent agency, WME, still represents the Duchess of Sussex, despite previous claims of a split. The leading agency has denied severing ties with Meghan after months of speculation about their professional relationship. This follows insider reports that the Duchess had been let go for being too demanding and difficult to work with. WME, which manages A-list celebrities like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Serena Williams, signed Meghan in 2023. According to Page 6, she has not met with WME's CEO, Ari Emanuel, since January 2024, though she continues to work with her day-to-day agents. Sources claim that during her last meeting with Emanuel, Meghan had an outburst that allegedly left the agency boss done with her. The allegations add to ongoing reports about her management style. A source told The Hollywood Reporter, "Everyone's terrified of Meghan, she belittles people and doesn't take advice." Another insider added, "She's absolutely relentless, marching around like a dictator in high heels, fuming and barking orders." Meghan has strongly denied these accusations, calling them part of a calculated smear campaign. Signs of tension surfaced in September when she was noticeably absent from WME's exclusive Emmy Awards after-party at the Waldorf Astoria. The event came just days after The Hollywood Reporter published an article titled, "Why Hollywood Keeps Quitting on Harry and Meghan." A senior Hollywood publicist told the Mail, "It's really striking that WME didn't shut this narrative down." The article also highlighted the departure of the couple's chief of staff, Josh Kettler, after just 3 months in the role. Despite the ongoing speculation, WME continues to represent both Meghan and her content creation label, Archewell. Their collaboration spans film and television production, brand partnerships, and business development. When she first signed with the agency, Meghan was set to work closely with Endeavor CEO Ari Emanuel, along with agents Brad Slater and Jill Smoller. This reaffirmation of WME's relationship with the Duchess comes as she embarks on new projects, including the rebranding of her lifestyle initiative from American Riviera Orchard to As Ever. So, what are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments. That brings us to the end of today's video. Hit the like and subscribe button for more British content. Oh, and don't forget to get your t-shirts at BritishStand.com. Link is in the description.